Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today for this session on the Mums on Cloud Nine Summit. I'm delighted to have Judy here, who's going to be talking to us about how to overcome and equally important, how to prevent burnout, because I think so many of us can be at risk of that and not mindful of exactly, when should we be aware of it, what are some of the symptoms we should be mindful of, and how to really prevent it is the ultimate thing. Obviously, if you're in a burnout phase, then they're the things you want to start working on straight away. And that's what today is all about. It's about self-care. It's about looking after yourself. It's about thinking about looking after our mind and our body. And we've got a whole suite of sessions today. So today at 1 o'clock, we're with Judy for 45 minutes to talk about how to overcome burnout. If you're interested in joining any of the sessions, I will share that towards the end, and you can keep pace with some of the other topics that we've got coming up as well. But Judy, I'll hand over to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'll stop sharing my screen and let you share your wisdom.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you for the very kind introduction. I am just going to share my screen with you all and get it all sorted. As you can probably tell, I'm not from a hugely technical background. But anyway, we move. So hopefully you can all see that. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Would be great. And thank you. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking time out of your busy schedule today to talk a little bit about something which I feel is so important. And it is on the agenda, but I still feel that it's not being talked about enough. So anyway, hello, I'm Judy. I am principal coach and founder of Mindful Coaching. And as Heather has very kindly introduced, I'm here today to talk to you a bit about what burnout is and most importantly, how to overcome it. So why do we even need to talk about burnout? So according to the 2025 report on burnout by Mental Health UK, 9 in 10 workers report experiencing extreme stress in the last year, with the majority being impacted women more than men. 3/4 of adults are so stressed that they have become overwhelmed with it and have been unable to cope. And to quantify the size of the problem even further, it's estimated that it costs the UK economy almost £30 billion a year. So in my professional opinion, as a mental health clinician and as a coach, burnout isn't a personal failure, it's a systemic issue which impacts women hard. So those stats are alarming, but if we think about it, that is just the people who are already experiencing burnout. So consider how many people are on the path to burnout and don't realize it yet because they themselves don't even know until it's almost too late. So if we put a frog into hot water, it jumps out. But if we heat the water slowly, bit by bit, little by little, the frog stays put until it's too late. And burnout is the same. It creeps up on us. It's just one more project. It's just another busy week, and things will get better maybe when the kids are older. So I want you to consider your own circumstances in this moment in time. So what temperature is the water for you right now?
Oof,
Has it got so hot that you just haven't realized and it's creeping up on you slowly? And so how do we know that the temperature is rising? How do we spot it early? So burnout might creep up on us, but there are always signs, and these can show up in our mood, our behaviour, and even our physical health. So with burnout, it's common to feel tired all the time. So you've had your 12-hour sleep and you just don't feel that you've had that really good, deep, restorative rest. You might notice that you're a bit more irritable, a bit more brittle with your partner over something trivial, or you might find yourself snapping at the kids to put their shoes on for the third time that morning. You can feel a bit flat, like your motivation, it's got up and left, and everything can feel a bit pointless, and completing tasks can feel like you're walking through mud. So I appreciate that brain fog for women and as a parent is real, but it is much worse when you're experiencing burnout and you can feel you're just forgetting things, making silly errors, and you're just finding it really hard to concentrate on the things that really matter. It can also show up physically too. And this is often the symptoms that lead us to making a visit to our GP. It's the backaches, the muscle tension, the headaches, the sleep. Your appetite is a bit off. And then cue the frustration when we go to the GP, get the bloods, and the lab results come back as normal. So experiencing the symptoms of burnout in the long term is as damaging to your health as smoking, poor diet, and lack of exercise. A statistic actually that also hits me is that stress can lead to autoimmune disorders. And where diagnosed, it is 80% of these individuals are women. So I will caveat on this slide as well that these are all very common symptoms of burnout, but this alone does not make a formal diagnosis. So we have learned that burnout creeps up on us. It's small, it's gradual, we don't even notice, that its signs are there. They do come early, but we might not recognize them. And it's being aware of how it can affect us. So as a mental health professional, I see burnout occurring when our tolerance is stretched beyond its capacity. So let's have a little look at how our capacity to tolerate stresses in our life can show up. So some of you who may have been to some of my talks before perhaps have heard about this, and it is the cup of tolerance. And I use it all the time with my clients, and it is such a powerful analogy and a coaching tool as well. So each and every one of us has the ability to tolerate some degree of stress in our cup of tolerance. So a normal amount of stress is fine. And people are often alarmed when I say stress is actually okay if it's manageable. And sometimes it can be a real good thing. It's the pressure to help us unlock a bit of performance, give us that get up and go feeling. And also a little bit of stress shows that we care about something. And I think that's important too. So as mums, partners, professionals, business owners, carers, there are lots of things that can fill our cup each day. And when the stresses and the demands on us stay in the cup, this is our manageable stress. However, burnout and chronic stress happens when our cup of tolerance starts to overflow. And it can happen more easily than you think. So maybe you're working towards a deadline, you have that big meeting coming up, you have a project or a deal closing, and it's taking up a lot of your effort. But in addition to this, you're at work dealing with all of this, and it's not even lunchtime. The school rings to say one of the kids are sick, you need to come and collect them. And it's you that has to drop everything and go. And then later on in the afternoon, you see a WhatsApp from your partner saying he has to fly to a client meeting tomorrow and will be back the day after. So you are the one left doing the school runs, looking after the sick child, doing the homework, making the dinner, doing mum taxi to swimming lessons, and you end up having to work half the night to catch up. And before you know it, your cup is overflowing. So we need to make space in this cup. So how on earth do you stop it from overflowing? You just can't remove all these things from the cup. The school runs won't do themselves, and I'm pretty sure the kids haven't learned to cook overnight. So we need to consider other ways to manage the capacity within our cup. And I think it's important to note, as a mental health professional, in this situation, we do tend to internalize and we blame ourselves. But there is nothing wrong with you or your cup. It is doing its job. It's full and overflowing because you are carrying a lot. It's not because you are not strong enough. So how do we make a little bit more space in this cup? So the first step is to start small and start simple and free up a little bit of time and mental energy. And surprisingly, AI can actually be your ally here. So as we know, there's been lots of amazing, wonderful technical innovation over the last 15 years, and most of them have been absolutely wonderful at distracting us and wasting our time. So smartphones have connected us 24/7 to the world, to work, and social media has created a generation of doom scrollers. But AI might be the first thing that has come about in a while that can actually give us a little bit of time back. I need to be quite clear here. I am not an early adopter of any new technology. And I was initially skeptical about Gen AI. And my first forays into using ChatGPT was asking it really stupid questions and using it a bit more like Google. And I was like, I'm not impressed with this, but it's probably due to my lack of knowledge as well. And quoting Heather from her article in The Independent this morning, women are 20% less likely to engage with Gen AI than men. So we have to sort of explore that a little bit as well. So I started mindful coaching about 15 months ago. And previous to that, I worked in frontline mental health services in the NHS. So now being a small business owner, I am responsible for all of the businessy things, the marketing, the finance, you name it. It's at my door. It's my responsibility. And not only have I used AI to actually learn a lot about these things, but I've adopted it to actually do some of it for me as well. And again, to quote Heather, in her article this morning, it's important to remind ourselves about how women are twice as likely to lose their job to AI as we're likely not to be early adopters to get on board with it. And it can make a lot of difference to us. So quite a few of the tasks I do on a daily business as a small business owner are super repetitive and really time consuming. And to be honest, anybody who works or has a side hustle or their own business can appreciate that a lot of it is really boring. And I'm like, oh, I'm a coach. All I want to do is coach. All I want to do is the fun stuff. So I have shared with you today some of my trusty AI tools, and these are the ones that I actually use on a regular basis, and they make my life a little bit easier. So as I had said previously, I've dabbled with AI tools in the past, some of them a bit disappointing, probably a lot of it my own lack of knowledge, but some have really been very, very helpful as well. So probably top of my list, gold star, is Canva. So it has been my go-to for creating branding for my business. I really love it, especially for doing a lot of things around social media design, making proposal templates, in my brand identity. And it did take me a while to master the basics. I am self-taught, but now they actually have an AI assistant built into Canva, and it is really amazing. And I can create everything so much faster than before. And this is one of the tools that I would use on a daily basis that it has it built in already, just makes it a bit more simple for somebody like me. ChatGPT deep research. So I think it is quite difficult to beat, in all honesty. So I really love the deep research capability. So it's been really super helpful for me to get comprehensive analysis to use for my business plans, and even to research some new coaching service ideas. And quality of the reports always amazes me. And it also flagged some things that I hadn't even thought of, such as reports or documents. And it really helps me focus on the things that are relevant. And I have a background in research and higher education, so I always check the veracity of sources as well, just to apply my own critical review and eye to the reports, which I think sort of gets the best results as well. So Notebook LM is an interesting one. This is something my husband introduced me to. If I'm working on a project or something in particular, I like a bit like everybody, I have bookmarks, links, snippets here and there, various documents, and I rarely make use of them because it was all quite disorganized, to put it politely. And Notebook LM enables me just to create a notebook on each topic, and I pop everything in there, all my links, YouTube videos, random text, screenshots, anything really. And then I can ask it questions about it to uncover insights, particular things I need to know about a topic. And it can actually create different ways to consume the content. And if I don't have time to read a report or read a script, it actually makes it into a podcast as well. So I can listen to it whilst I get on with something else. Another tool that I use as well is Otter AI. So I would use this, for instance, if I'm in business meetings. I am a note taker. I am fond of pen and paper, but you can't take notes, present, pitch, do everything at the same time. So this actually transcribes the meeting. It tells what attendee said what, and then you can go back, search, and refer to it later on, and what the key points were. And also, I should probably say here, just for a bit of clarity, I don't use this within individual coaching sessions or anything like that. It's purely for business meetings, workshops, and if I've attended training. It's sort of outsourcing my brain capacity. And again, ChatGPT, we've talked about it before, great for general tasks, summarizing documents, and just getting it to critique things as well. And it's just super helpful for more general tasks. And ChatGPT isn't just my go-to for, work. I use it with loads of other tasks as well. So I actually saw this on Instagram a while ago and I thought, that's really interesting. I must see if that works. And it does. So if you have a bunch of like random ingredients in the fridge or the larder and you literally cannot think of what to make for tea, upload it all into ChatGPT, what you have, and it will give you an idea for a recipe. So a couple of weeks ago, it was one of those coming towards the end of the week. I was like, gosh, what am I going to make? And the kids are so fussy as well sometimes. So looking in the fridge, carrots, peas, eggs, peanut butter, rice, what on earth do I do with this? But it actually gave me a suggestion of like a satay fried rice, and the kids loved it. So 10 out of 10, recommend that feature. And I am a bit of a self-confessed Pinterest mom. I love finding stuff off it to, entertain the kids. But I found that using ChatGPT can help plan a screen-free day for your kids. So think of those sort of days that take you by surprise, but you still have to work in the background, sort of exceptional closures, teacher training, and even sort of the quieter days in half term. So it's really great for putting together some little activities that makes you feel a bit less guilty as well, instead of handing them the switch or the remote control for the TV. And I actually read recently as well that over 70% of Gen Zs use AI to plan and book their holidays. And I can fully see why. So we have saved hours on planning trips recently. We were recently on a trip to Dublin with the kids and our summer holiday back in June. So it is great. The more you put in, the better results you get. So it's all those things like what our personal preferences are for hotels, what the kids want, dietary requirements, what we expect of the hotel, how far away you want it to be from the airport. And you could even ask it to avoid key dates. For instance, we know when half term is in Northern Ireland or the UK where you are, but it can also help sort of pinpoint when holidays are in the country that you're traveling to. So it's really helpful for that too. So these are my go-tos and how I use them. So I have refined them over time, and now that they literally and figuratively work for me. So some of my tips to get the most out of your AI tools that you could be using is, first of all, let it do the boring stuff. If there's a repetitive task you don't like, and even if AI can't do it entirely, at least it takes a bit of the load off. It is such a quick win. Also, master your prompts. So I was absolutely rubbish at the start, but I found some really good prompt lists online and saved them. And this helps me get the most out of it. And again, context, context, context. So it does not know what it does not know. So you need to give it as much information as possible to ensure the best output. And I have also switched the memory mode on in ChatGPT, so you don't have to keep re-explaining things over multiple chats because that can get really annoying. And again, Canva, it's yeah, it's just there when you're using it. And I've made a point to make sure that I bring these tools into my day-to-day flow of work, that it is not an afterthought. It is an integral part of how I run my business and run my day. Also take a little bit of time to consider your data privacy and security. So only use your corporate approved tools at work and in your personal use. Switch on the setting that stops your data being used to train the AI models. And this will enable you to use them, confidently and ensure that your data is remaining confidential as well. And another point to make as well is that the first answer is not the draft. It is the draft. It is not your final output. So case in point, here are some of my attempts at trying to create my cup of tolerance imagery for this talk today. And even with refining, I still managed to create these cute wee images in about 2 minutes. And honestly, like I am not obviously I cannot design things. So this would have taken me forever to create these myself, or if at all. So there you go. That's my go-to AI tools and my tips for getting the most out of them. So you've applied the AI tools to your week. You've managed to claw back around 20 minutes a day. So that's an hour and 40 across the week. So now what? So I am really hoping you have not fell into the trap. So although AI has helped free up that little bit of space, we must not use this precious time to just do more work. So do not squeeze in that extra call in the day. Do not take on that extra commitment, and do not take on that little side project that somebody has been asking you to do. So if we use this capacity to do the same that we have always done, nothing has changed, and we're just going to recreate the same problems, you're going to be stuck in that cycle. So what do we do instead? So we need to invest in the long-term changes that maintain that space. So the 20 minutes that we have got back, reinvest that into your long-term well-being. So AI may have created the space, but you need to invest in the long-term strategies to hold it. So this includes developing boundaries. And although this may cause a bit of short-term feeling of, being uncomfortable for you and the person you're holding the boundary with, what is the cost to you in the long term if you don't? So resist that urge to firefight, assume responsibility, and always be the person who is doing the rescuing. Set the priority. One of my favorite phrases is in Latin, there is no plural for the word priority. So if we have too many, then nothing is a priority. We will be overwhelmed and not as effective. It's the mindset shift. This is the training ourselves to how to think differently, find that guilt-free zone and hold that boundary. You're holding the no. Resilience. So learn those tools to build the resilience, which will have the long-term impact on your well-being. And align your goals. So I think it's a really important question to ask is whose goals are you actually working on? Are they yours? It's a space to consider if your goal actually matches your values. And these are the things that will break the loop of stress. And coaching enables you to develop these long-term strategies. And I see coaching as a critical investment in ourselves, and it will keep the lid on your cup. So, how does coaching build the long-term resilience? So, I think it's always important to highlight that coaching is not about fixing you, it's about resourcing you. It provides a confidential, calm space for you to safely discuss and recognize the loop that keeps stress going and equips you with the practical tools to shift your mindset and keep your cup from overflowing. And together, we look at building that solid foundation of well-being, healthy habits, and helping you shift your mindset around stress. And I have had the privilege of supporting clients through their own challenges with stress and burnout. And I want to give you some examples of that today as well. So although they all have their different careers, their paths, their backgrounds, and their circumstances are all different, which cause their burnout, coaching has enabled them all to develop the long-term strategies to build the resilience and stop that cup from overflowing. So one of my clients is an owner of a digital marketing agency and was so overwhelmed with the workload. And they fell into that oh so common trap of being self-employed and feeling they have to keep taking on work to be able to survive. So they took on too many projects and commitments, which ended up with their working pattern just being wholly unsustainable. And it just caused them to burn out. So they use coaching to enable them to identify their real priority and set a clear boundary with themselves and with their clients. I had a teacher who struggled to find balance between work and home. So they had recently taken on a senior role, which came with it, as you know, more responsibility. But around that time as well, their partner became ill and they experienced burnout trying to please everybody, satisfy everybody, and show up for everybody at the same time. And coaching provided them with the space to identify that mindset shift that they needed to make to overcome loads of feelings around guilt, anxiety, set the boundary, and help them build those foundational coping tools. And another individual as well, they worked in the public sector and were struggling with a chronic health condition. So they wanted to launch their own business to be more flexible around their health, attending appointments, and also managing energy levels in their own terms. So coaching helped them put structure around their plans, put in manageable and realistic goals that honor their ambition, but also mindful about their energy levels too. So we did a bit of a mindset piece of work around their chronic illness too, which was very empowering for them. And they now run a successful lifestyle business. So seeing my clients succeed and thriving means as much to me, really, as it does to them. So I think the successes I have in helping my clients with burnout stems really from the mental health foundations I have built from the past 15 years on the front line in the NHS, where I have worked with service users of all ages, all backgrounds, and pretty much the majority of them suffering from chronic burnout by another name. And this mental health foundation combined with practical coaching, using the evidence-based tools, the goal setting, breaking progress into simple, small, doable steps. Because at the end of the day, the last thing we need is to be more overwhelmed. And finally, I get it. It's like, I am that working mum. I am the one trying to juggle the demands of daily life. And I am trying to show up every day for my family and my business. And I even have my own coach that helps me keep the lid on my cup of tolerance. So I really encourage you today to use some of those extra minutes you have got back to book a 33 or a 30-minute free coaching session to explore how we can make space in your cup. So if you scan this QR code, it'll take you to my calendar and you can book a time that works for you. So my schedule is flexible and I can do early mornings or evenings. And coaching isn't another should to your list. I am here to help you design a version of success that doesn't cost you your health. So thank you so much for taking the time out to listen today. And if anybody has any questions, I would be more than happy to try and help. And I appreciate that a lot of the content that we've been through today and some of the feelings around burnout and feeling stressed are confidential as well. And I am more than happy to have a conversation offline about this. And I am just so thankful again for you to take this time out of your day. And I have enjoyed sharing all my thoughts with you about your cup of tolerance, how it has the potential to overflow, and some hopefully practical examples of AI to give you a small window of capacity. And honestly, I encourage you to invest in yourself for your long-term resilience. So thank you so much, everybody. And over to you, Heather.
Thank you, Judy. There was a question just about going back to the QR code. So that'd be
Yes.
fabulous. Thank you so much. I'm glad you all really enjoyed the session. Again, so much in there, some amazing tips. And I think it's interesting, isn't it, Judy, how a lot of the symptoms for burnout can replicate like various other things, and you think, oh, what's wrong with me? And you think, it's these different areas. But I think those observations that you've talked about, what is playing out for you right now? What are those things that are going on? I think, we'd love to share your presentation. I think it's something to download and almost have it in front of you, because obviously a lot on getting off the screen is so important, as much as saving time. So I loved your time saving tips as well with those different AI tools that you use. I think, as you say, and don't use that time up, use it for yourself is really important. So I'd love to hear everybody else's takeaways. Any questions? Obviously, these sessions you might not want to share in person, so please do reach out separately as well and book in that free session. with Judy. I always love your metaphors, Judy, as well, like the boiling kettle aspect, and whether your cup, how full your cup is. I think it just makes it come to life for people. It helps you really sort of resonate with where you are. So thank you everyone for showing up. And let us know if you've got anything else. Otherwise, we will finish early and you can go grab some lunch. We have some other sessions coming up, but let us know if there's anything else before we sign off. I know we've got a few people just joining now, towards the end of the session. So welcome to those of you that have just joined us. We are just wrapping up the session and we will be sharing it on replay by tomorrow, latest Monday, when we get the sessions all up and running. So for those that have just joined, missed a great session. It is loads of great content, so please do watch it on replay. If you've got any questions, let us know. Judy, any final words before we finish off?
No, I don't think so. As I said, I appreciate that, a lot of this you want to keep confidential. I obviously I don't have access to the chat, so I'm really sorry if I've missed something. But scan my QR code. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Instagram. On Instagram, I'm Mindful Coaching UK, where I share loads of really helpful tips and some observations just about well-being, coaching, and just trying to build a life which you can thrive in. And on LinkedIn, something similar as well. You can find me just under Judith Shevlin, I think it is, or Mindful Coaching. So please feel free to follow me on social media after. Yeah, and thank you so much again.
Thank you,
It's been a
Judy.
pleasure.
I'm not sure why you can't see the chat, but loads of lovely feedback. Thank you. Mars says, thank you very much. Very interesting. Thank you for the session. Very useful. So Avril, thank you for sharing your expertise and experience from Jackie. Sarah says, thank you, Judith. What an interesting and informative session. Lots of thank yous in there. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure why you can't see it, but lots of great takeaways and reflections on everything that's been coming through. So thank you once again. We will share. I've put the link into the chat, where you can watch the upcoming sessions, but also where the replays will be held as well for you to see. So all of that information will be there and you can book your free sessions. So thank you very much. Go and grab some lunch. I know some of you have been with us all day watching various sessions, so that's awesome. You're squeezing every bit of juice out of these. And we'll be back with you at 2:30 for productivity tips. So thanks once again, and we'll see you all very soon. Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.